wondering why I'm grunting so much.
Because mine on my back, one arm under the bath. Toilet between my legs. That's the real life of a jobbing plumber. What's up guys, happy Sunday. Thanks for tuning in to my latest video. Now, I'm sorry to tell you that this might be my last YouTube video I do, because tomorrow the gyms are opening again and you may lose me to the gym. I can't promise anything, I'll try my best, but we'll just have to see how it goes. So before we start this week's video, I just wanted to let you know I've created a server on an app called Discord, and it's for apprentice plumbers to join. And you can ask questions, whatever you want, without being made to feel stupid that you don't know the answer, or without anyone taking the piss out of you. So basically, if you're an apprentice plumber, there's 3 groups. There's the gas group, so you can ask questions about gas, completing your portfolio, breakdown assistance, anything you want to ask, feel free to ask it in there. There's a plumbing group, so plumbing apprentices, if you want to know how something works, if you've come across something you've never seen before, all the way down to if you're doing your first job and you want to know how much to charge for it, you can ask. There's groups of people, admin kind of guys, so guys with a lot of experience ready to answer your questions and help you out. I'm in there as well, obviously. And then the third group is a general chit chat group, moral support, banter. Now, a lot of guys are struggling with their mental health, generally in the construction industry, but also because of COVID. So if you just want to get in a friendly group, have a chat, tell us about your problems. One of us, the older guys, might have been through it, or one of the younger guys might be also going through it, and we can talk it out, help each other out in there. So I'll drop the link to the Discord group in the description of the video, and yeah, I hope you enjoy this week's video. Right, so I've got a Glowworm 30CI, and we've got a leak. You can see there, we've got a pinhole in the hydraulic block. Cold water's off at the minute, so if I turn it back on, just stick my finger up here. Sorry. Well, you can see the water just starting to form there. It's actually spraying out very fine jet. Probably hear it. There, you can see it there. So that's the problem. So we've got to change this whole block, which looks a bit of a daunting job. I've heard the worst thing about it is these 3 screws here, but they look okay, so we might be in luck. I'll just show you this so you can see that's plastic, that's where it's leaking. The new one. They've actually replaced that plastic part with a copper pipe, so fair play to them, they've seen a problem and done something about it. So that's what we're swapping. I'll just show you my new uni light, because it's got this hook on it. Which is really handy for working on things where you can just use it on a stand. You can stand it, and it's also magnetic, so if you wanted, you could do that with it. In fact, that's probably what I will do with it on this one. So what I'm going to do now is drain the whole boiler down, and then start to get that out. I'm going to film it with this GoPro. So hopefully we'll get the whole job on camera, and then I'll talk to you, I'll do a voiceover on it. So there's the one I took out. Those screws came out really easily. So that's where we've got the pinhole there. And that's the new one. Now we do get, you'll see its instructions there, but we get new O-rings. Really important that we use all of those, and we put silicone grease on everything. Came out really easy. Got a cup of tea when I got here. I've had 2 sips of it and it's still warm. So that's how long it's took me to get out. You can see there we've got joins on the plate there, joins on the flow pipe there. I guess that little one there on the bypass. And then obviously we've got the hot and the flow underneath and the PRV. And PRV we took out. And that's the filling link. So start putting it all back together now. We're in the divert motor, which is going to go on there. Like that. So that's already attached. That's going to go in the front there, which will replace that O-ring. Yeah, so far so good. So I've got the new valve all in, new washers, new O-rings, and then what I always do, just going to blast it with a hairdryer, make sure it's all bone dry, and then we'll fill it up and see. The reason I do that, if you've not watched my videos before, is if everything's dry, when we first put the water back on and fill it up, we'll notice if anything's leaking straight away. If you've got a bit of water lying around, it might take you a little while to notice, so blast it off, get it nice and dry first. So I've blasted that all out now, it's bone dry. There would have been water sat on here, but that's all gone now. So what I'm going to do is pop the coal back on, and then before I fill the heating up, I'll leave that for a minute just to check nothing's dripping on the hot and cold side. Once I'm happy that there's no leaks there, then I'll fill the heating circuit and then we'll know if we've got any leaks. Okay, so the trouble with this boiler is you don't get a manual pressure gauge, you only get digital. So we're going to put a bit of water into the heating system and then I'll turn the power on just so we can see what pressure we're at. So what I'm going to do is crack the filling loop. And slowly let some water in. I've still got the drain hose attached. So it should start coming out of there first. And I'll leave that attached, but what I will do is turn it off. So that's shut now, so the boiler will start filling, and then if we have any trouble, then we can just open it back up and it's already connected. Goes out the shit. Right, so I don't think anything's leaking. So what I'll do now is pop the power back on. 0.9 bar. Okay, we'll go to put the side back on and then we'll test it all. So we're all filled up, just fired up the hot water, that works fine, and the heating's now on. We've got no leaks. Have you ever seen one of these before in an airing cupboard? Servowarm. Basic way of explaining it, it's a manual 3-port valve. So here's the 3 ports. We've got the heat coming in from the boiler, flow to the radiators and flow to the hot water. And you'll notice that the hot water pipe's 15 mil and the central heating is 22 mil, because your hot water circuit is generally quite a small circuit, a coil inside a cylinder, or even a hot tube. You might have seen some cylinders, the flow and return go into the top. It looks like an immersion connection, but it's just a 15 mil flow and return in at the top. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you it. So basically, a manual version of a 3-port, so you can't ask your programmer to tell it you want heat or hot water. You have to come up manually into your airing cupboard and select hot water, or move the lever across if you want your heating on. And that's what they used to have to do. So I just thought I'd show you the inside. I'll take this off, put the flash on so you can see inside. But this is in hot water mode at the minute, so you can see at the top we've got a full bore going up through that 15 mil pipe, and the 22 mil pipe below is blocked off, so nothing can get to the radiators. If we then change it to central heating, so move the paddle across, it's hard with one hand, it's quite old. We've now got the full bore open to go down to let the heat down to the radiators. And the top, the hot water, can you see that tiny little hole? So it's reduced the flow to the hot water, but it's still left it open. So heating mode is heating and hot water, and hot water mode is just hot water. Just by those, there's 3 holes there. So you got full bore there that's not being used, and then half bore or quarter bore at the top. And then they just change as you move it. Clever stuff. Right guys, this is the 60-second fault finding video from last week. I just thought I'd go through it again with you because I went back to finish the job off. So I showed you before, basically I was called out for no heating, no hot water, checking my sequence of operations, so I'm looking for a demand. I'm getting a demand from the flow sensor for the hot water and from the room stat, but nothing's happening. So I used my basic sequence of events fault finding. PCB gets a demand from either the flow switch or the room stat. It sends power to the pump. Once the pump starts spinning, the pin comes out to activate the micro switch. Now the pin wasn't coming out to activate the micro switch, so we've either got an issue with the PCB not sending power to the pump not spinning, or the other issue, which I didn't mention, is that flow switch has got a rubber diaphragm, and they're very common, they get perforated. Now if the pump was spinning and there was a perforation in the diaphragm of the flow switch, that would also be a reason why the flow switch pin wouldn't come out. But we proved it was the pump because we had power to it, but it wasn't spinning. So the way I work, I get a call out from the letting agency, no heating, no hot water. I attend, do some fault finding, and I put a quote together, send it to the letting agency, and then they send it on to the landlord, and then I wait for a go ahead. So I'm back a few days later, he's accepted my quote to put a new pump on. So I'm putting the new pump on. The new pump comes with the hydraulic block or the whatever behind it, plastic. I don't need to use that because the one on the board is fine, and it means I've not got to disturb any extra connections. What I will do though is replace the air bottle, because that's a working part, and it's, you know, just a case of screwing the old one off. I'm only going to throw that other plastic block in the bin. So put that back on, fit the new pump, fill it up, and then we're ready to test it. And I just wanted to show you this because it's sort of the conclusion of the job. I showed you what I thought was wrong, and now I want to show you it working. So with the new pump on, call for demand, you can see now that pin is coming out, and that's what should happen. The pin should come out far enough to activate that micro switch. And then we go back to our sequence of operations. So that micro switch, when the pin comes out, sends voltage to the PCB to let it know that the pump's spinning, and it can carry on with the sequence of operation all the way to the boiler firing up. Right guys, got a tap change job for you. These taps, I don't know what you call them, like a waterfall, it's just a chute. Water's off at the minute, so I can't show you. They were fashionable about 10 years ago, but I don't like them. The problem you'll get, if you've got any kind of decent water pressure or flow rate, because it's looking up, the water shoots out, it either sits there and splashes, or it just goes straight over the edge. And like you can see on this one, they've had a problem with it leaking, obviously, and running down the tap body. So they've put some silicone on there to stop that, to make it drip into the sink. Oh, it's not even silicone, what is it? I don't know. Anyway, that's coming out. Was going to be a nice, easy job. Customer told me he's supplying his own taps. I thought I'd do a little video, show you how to use the Nerrad Tapex kit, but it's turned into a mission. What I got here, can you look at the toilet seat? That's loose. can you change the bath tap at the same time? Yeah, I can, but I wish you'd have told me. And then they also now want the silicone seal renewing. I don't blame them. But it's just turned a, I don't know, 20-minute job into hour and 20. And it's my birthday today. And the customer I used to go to school with him, so. And that's not, it's a horrible looking cup of tea. It's about the same shade of white as the skirting board. Anyway, we'll do this. So I've shown this loads of times. I've shown this loads of times because I absolutely love this kit. If you're changing a lot of taps, it's great, pays for itself. They're about 150 quid. But yeah, once you've done 2 or 3 jobs with it, it's paid for itself. The only thing comes with a foam sheeting that I took out for some reason, and now every time I open it, all the bits have gone everywhere. But it's like a socket set, but specifically for swapping taps. So you got adapters, bath taps, basin taps. These will do the tap nut and the locking nut. These will do the monoblock taps, all the different sizes. And then you've got a ratchet handle, which is extendable. You've got an extension here, which is also can get you quite high up. And then different adapters. This is great. I'll show you this one. Well, in fact, I won't show you this one on this tap because it's not rigid pipework. But if you've got rigid pipework, that goes around the pipe and you can turn it. The only thing I will say that's missing, and there used to be a bit of card in here that said future additions to the kit. With this, you can attach this short bar to add these onto. So you can pop that on there. That's the shortest it'll get. But there's nothing like that for these. Now, if your tap is in something that's been boxed in, it's quite long. So I think they should do something shorter. So you could get that straight onto there. Same with these as well, something short so you could do it in tighter spaces. But other than that, it is a great bit of kit, and there's not very many instances where I've not been able to get one of these attachments in. So we'll set it up now to change this. So I've got the ratchet tool with the extension bar on, and that's, if I can see, all the way up onto the back nut. That's the 11mm socket, and you should just be able to turn that out. Ratchet that out. There's our nut. That's the tap undone, ready to remove. So the new tap set up. 11mm was the old nut, that's too big. We're looking at, I think, the 9mm on this one. Because it's a hollow shaft, that will screw right up as far as we need to go. So add that onto there. So taps in, got the nuts captive in the end of there, you can see that. So I don't even have to start it with my hand, I can just put this tool straight up and start tightening it on. So that's on right up there. See, quite a long thread on these, so you'll be able to do most of it like this. There we go, and then just use the ratchet to tighten the tap. Right, so now we're going to do the bath taps. And we've got to obviously undo the tap connector nut and the back nut from the tap. Now I am going to be able to show you this because these although the flexes, they go straight down, there's not much movement on them. So for this job, we're going to use this. You can see we've got 2 different sizes there, the same as this one. So they should work on nearly every single tap connector and back nut, and then we're going to use this. Just pop that on the end of there, can't do it with one hand. Okay, so we're on the tool, so let's see if I can film this. So, let's see, I'm going to get that's now connected onto our tap adapter, and the pipe flex is inside the handle. Turn that to undo it, and then we go above and on the same tool, and then on the back nut, which we can undo as well. So drop that down. There's a better view from with the cutout. So on that now, and then can go above it like that to get on that top one. Yeah, well engineered, well designed bit of kit that is. And then you can see on the back one, flex is inside the handle, and I'm able to turn that. Don't even have to detach it, just keep turning it. There we go. Get that out of the way. And then straight onto the back nut. Wondering why I'm grunting so much, because I'm lying on my back, one arm under the bath, toilet between my legs. That's the real life of a jobbing plumber. This has got to be one of my most hated jobs, removing silicone, especially when there's gaps like that. Like that tile goes down to the bath, well, almost down to the bath, but that one has a massive gap. Definitely my least favourite job as a plumber, hands down. So that's the Tapex kit. People ask me about tools they should get when they're first starting out, and normally I wouldn't recommend anything apart from the sort of standard spanners, adjustables, grips, screwdriver set, hammer, you know, the basic kit. And then things like, I don't know, laser levels, things you see people using on Instagram and stuff, like specific tools to get you around certain aspects of the job. I don't tend to recommend them. I say get your basic staple kit first, and then those little luxury items you can get as you progress through your career. But this is one of the ones that I would say you're better off getting at the start, because if you're a plumber, jobbing plumber, and you're doing a lot of tap swaps, the amount of time you'll save by having this kit, like I said at the start, it will pay for itself. So it's definitely something I would recommend. I mean, I've had mine, God, I've had this 3-4 years now. I had the very first one that they made. I've seen a couple of guys recently where this is broken, so it's not either not extending, or it's not, once it's out, it's not staying locked in place. I think that's the only thing I've seen break. And literally next day, Nerrad have sent them a replacement out, so it does say on their lifetime warranty. So yeah, nailed on recommendation, that Tapex kit. If I can, I'll put a link to it in the video description. I thought some of you might find this interesting. I've just found an old video on my phone of my kit bag, and this would have been right at the start of my sort of social media when I started to get into Twitter and stuff. It's an old Makita open tote, and I'm just showing the amount of Weir tools I own because I had a bit of an obsession. I don't know why I needed so many screwdrivers in my kit bag, but there you go. But I thought it was interesting because you can see, even back then, I was modifying my bags. So I've got a Weir holder attached onto the front of the bag there, my spirit level holder. Inside the bag, I remember I got an old paintbrush pot, plastic tub, and put it inside so I could have a tub inside the bag, which is very similar to the bags that I design and make these days. But yeah, I thought it was interesting.
What's up guys, it's Parts Plumbing. You might recognise me from YouTube. I'm the shit plumber with the funny memes. And I fucked up. Now, I used to work for a popular hotel chain, rhymes with gravel bodge. And I was tasked with isolating a cold water storage tank that was on the top of the building, which contained thousands and thousands of litres of water. So the gate valve that was on there was seized. It was the only gate valve on the pipe, and I needed to get isolation to it because they were doing some work downstream, etc, etc. So I thought, hey, don't worry about it. I'll get the freeze machine, we'll freeze it, it'll be absolutely fine. Got the freeze machine out, started to freeze the pipe above the gate valve. All was going great, gauges read fine, pipe was freezing, you could tell it was frozen, you know. Got the 28mm slice out, started to cut it. The second my pipe slice went through that pipe, an iceberg that could have sunk the Titanic come flying out about 2,000 miles an hour, and out came the water. Bellowing out, absolutely bellowing, and I could not stop it at all. I had no chance of stopping that water. And I flooded the entire gravel bodge. Fire doors, beds, couches, everything, carpets, all ruined. All occupants had to be evacuated. I was just stood there with my hands in my pockets like, oh my God. So yeah, I got sacked, obviously. But if I didn't get sacked, I wouldn't start my own business. So anyway, so thanks for having me on, and that's my fucked up story. Cheers.